Welcome back. Now, word on the street is Elon Musk and Tesla, they're working on this new sanitation system for their electric vehicles that are, according to Elon Musk, are soon to be driving by themselves. I guess you figured, hey, people may complain about the fact that you got different people in and out of these vehicles and the sanitary requirements may not be up to speed. So, what do you do about it? You invent something or invent a system that takes care of that. So we'll look at this article. Uh, we'll look at the article today that kind of is introducing this whole sanitation system for the electric vehicle that was filed by Tesla recently, and then we will also take a look at the patent. And it's going to be a class in session today, a learning moment, because I'm going to break down as a patent attorney how to read a claim. What is he actually claiming? What is he actually trying to protect? What did he actually invent? For those of you who don't know, my name is Dave, almost 10-year intellectual property attorney, dealing with everything from trademarks to copyrights to trade secrets, and yep, you guessed it, patents. I've been doing this stuff for a long time. I have written hundreds of applications, patent applications, and probably write about 50 applications or so a year. So I've been doing this thing at a pretty high level for a decent amount of time here, and we're going to try to learn today what is this whole sanitary system that Elon Musk has created at Tesla for these vehicles, for these automated vehicles, for the electric vehicles. We're going to take a look at that. I'm going to teach you how to read a claim of the patent. But first, before we get off into this, let's actually go to the article. So this is from Electric. And again, the title is Tesla. It came out a couple of days ago. And the title is, let me see if I can. Okay. Tesla patents auto sanitization system for its robot taxi cars. So again, this is a sanitation system that essentially operates automatically for these robot taxi cars, or essentially these taxi cars that drive themselves. So let's go down here. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Tesla has applied for a patent on an automated sanitation system for its upcoming robot taxi self-driving electric cars. Self-driving is not yet solved, but the new technology also comes with other problems. Tesla plans to launch an automated ride-hailing service once it solves self-driving, which is any day now, if you believe Elon Musk. Hey, Elon Musk, he said we're taking care of everything. We're dealing with self-driving, sanitation. We're dealing with this, what is it, the automated ride-hailing service. He's doing a lot at one time, putting people on the moon, trying to go to Mars. Hey, Elon Musk got his hands full these days. The article goes on to state, however, once you take the driver out of the ride hailing, you create other problems. While driving is certainly the main parts of the job, they also maintain their vehicles and keep them clean. I have to tell you guys on this one, I'm not sure how accurate that statement is, because I've seen a ton of cars that you go into them and it's like, man, this person hasn't cleaned their car in a long time. So nonetheless, it seems like with these self-driving technology that Elon Musk is developing, he's also coming up with means to actually clean a car, which is, again, sanitary, germ-free environments. That's always good. Tesla has now applied for a new patent that would automate at least part of the sanitation system of its self-driving cars. The patent issued is called Controlling Environmental Conditions in Enclosed Spaces. We'll take a look at the patent here. Tesla describes the problem it is solving in the patent background. We're not going to look at that. We're going to look at some pictures here, and then we're going to actually pull up the real patent, and I'm going to break it down from a patent attorney's perspective. But again, as we finish out this article, it says, in the patent, Tesla explains that it uses a variety of sensors, which can include an image sensor, a acoustic sensor, which is a sound sensor, a thermal sensor, a pressure sensor, a capacitive or a touch sensor, and a radio frequency sensor or a gas sensor to keep track of the environment inside the vehicle. As for the actual sanitation routine, Tesla mentions the potential use of UV lights and heating systems to sanitize. The patent suggests that Tesla could use things inside the vehicle to sanitize automatically, but it could also autonomously drive into an area equipped to sanitize the vehicle. So it's saying that, hey, we can actually use things inside the vehicle, such as the HVAC system, such as this UV system that's kind of distributing ultraviolet rays in a system. It also has a vapor system, which, again, we'll see in the patent. But all these means that are inside the vehicle, which can be used to sanitize the vehicle. On the other side of things, you can actually kind of pull this system into a say a car wash, if you will, that actually sanitizes the inside of the vehicle. So that's pretty much what that paragraph is saying. And then to finish out this thing, it's saying that the vehicle would go into some sort of sanitation mode that could include moving the seats if necessary or opening the windows to let in a light source. So that's good stuff. This is actually pretty interesting technology, I must say. But let's go to, let's see here, let's see here, let's see here. We're going to pull up the patent. We're going to go through the patent. Hey, this is going to be a learning lesson, man. I'm trying to give you guys some type of educational content with hopefully some value in it. So here we go here. So what you see on the right-hand side is the claims. So you see the claims here. This patent has actually, hopefully you guys can see this. This patent application, I should say, has 20 claims. You see claim 20 right here. I don't like how I'm gonna do that, but whatever. You see claim 20 right here. And then it also, if you go all the way up, you have claim 1. Now, this is actually a PCT application. I know a lot of people, I did a big breakdown on this with the Terrence Howard on Joe Rogan. A lot of people think there is a international patent, and there's no such thing as an international patent. However, you can file what is called an international patent application. You normally file that with a PCT office, which is Patent Cooperation Treaty. That's what PCT stands for. And you still have to nationalize it or go into each country you seek patent protection in a certain timeline. So as you see here, as I pull back up the screen, you see on the left-hand side, you have the actual PCT or PCT application is what we call it in patent law. But you see the PCT application that was filed by Tesla. You see the applicant is Tesla. You see the inventors down here. This was filed. The international filing date is February 21st of 2023. This was published later on that year, August 31st of 2023. And again, this is an international patent application. Now, you see here this designated states. These are all the states that you can essentially go into. You see the U.S. down here. I think you have Mexico. You have China, which is CN. I'm just kind of pointing out some of the ones that I noticed. No, Japan should be on. JP is Japan. DE is Germany. So these are all the countries that you have to decide what countries or states they call them you want to go into before the deadline approaches. So, but this is the PCT application. This is, and if we go down, we're going to go down to the actual figures of the application, and then we're going to essentially read the claim. Let's see here. I don't know why I did that, but come on, man. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So these are the figures. So how many figures does this one has? This patent application has, it looks to be quite a few figures, 14 figures. We don't necessarily care about all of these figures, but we will go through the patent application, the claims here. So as you see here on the right-hand side, what is claimed? And for those of you who don't know, the claims are the most important part of the application. I know a lot of times people like to say, hey, this person had invented the electric vehicle. And man, the electric vehicle, as we all know, have tons of different parts, subparts of it. So, but the claims, if you look at the claims of each issued patent, they're going to define what's protected for that particular invention. And typically you have 20 claims here in the US. I'm only speaking for the US as a US patent attorney. You are allowed 20 claims and 3 independent claims. And so you have what is called independent claims, which is a standalone claim. And then you have a dependent claim, which is as the name might suggest, it depends on the independent claim. So this claim 1 is typically your broadest claim. Claim 1 is typically a independent claim, and claim 1 is typically your broadest claim in a patent application. It's a standalone claim, and it's your broadest claim. And then typically you'll have a dependent claims that depend from claim 1, for example. And those are essentially building off those claims. So they're building off the claims. And again, they're not standalone claims. They depend from the standalone claim, independent claim one. So we're just going to take a look at independent claim one, which again, as I said, is typically your broadest claim in the patent. Let me move this over here. I'm gonna try to blow this up so you guys can really see it. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, yeah, this should work. So what is claim? It's a system claim for sanitizing an enclosed space. And actually, I'm already liking this starting out because typically what people would like to say, you may be thinking, hey, why does he have a system claim if this is for an electric vehicle? Well, you don't want to limit it. For example, if he would have had an electric vehicle comprising, then typically that means that somebody to infringe this patent would have to sell the entire vehicle. But when you say a system for sanitizing an enclosed space, you don't have to sell the vehicle to be liable for patent infringement. If this case, again, this is the application, so it still has to go through prosecution. But say claim one, for the sake of this example, say claim one gets issued as is. For you to be liable for patent infringement, you do not have to sell a vehicle. You just have to sell a system that sanitizes enclosed space. Now, we all know that the enclosed space is the cabin, the occupant cabin of a vehicle, but as a patent attorney, you want to be broad as possible so that you're not limiting yourself to only electric vehicles. You can use this system for a house, you can, or whatever building or structure that has an enclosed space, a room in a house, for example, or you can use it for a vehicle. So that's why you want to be as broad as possible when you are drafting these claims, which again, the claims are the most important part of the application. You have the drawings, you have the abstract, which is like a background section. You have the detailed description, which is explaining to you or describing the invention in detail. And then you have the claims, which is typically found at the end of the patent application, but that's going to describe the metes and bounds, what's protected from that for that application. So again, this is important stuff because the claims are the most important part of it. So you have, I'm gonna try to blow this up again. Hopefully you guys can see this. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So what are they claiming? You have a plurality of, you have essentially sensors. So what are the sensors? Because configured to do what? Detect a current environmental condition associated with the enclosed space. So in other words, hey, you have sensors in this vehicle, and then the sensors may be detecting, okay, that the vehicle is maybe dirty, and then it's generating data based on the current environmental condition, or in other words, generating data based on the vehicle being dirty, for example. Then you have a processor. So you have a sensor so far. This sensor is detecting the dirtiness, if you will, of the enclosed space, which is a vehicle, which may be a vehicle. Then it's generating data based on that current environmental conditions. Then you have a processor that's configured to do a few things: obtain a sanitation routine or generate the sanitation routine based, at least in part, on the data. So let's break this down here. So, and I'm gonna go through all this at the end as well. But so far, you have some sensors. Now the sensors are just say in your vehicle, and they're detecting the environmental conditions, the current environmental conditions. So, okay, man, this vehicle is currently dirty. And then you have those sensors are generating data based on the fact that the vehicle is dirty. Then you have a processor configured to generate or obtain a sanitation routine based on the data from the sensors. Then you can it's going to execute that routine as we get back into it here. I know this stuff can be a little bit it's different trying to describe or break down patent claims, but this stuff is important because this is the most important part of the patent or the patent application in this case. So you have a processor that's configured to obtain, hopefully you guys follow my pointer here, obtain a sanitation routine or generate that sanitation routine based off the data from the sensors. Then it's executing, so it's putting in motion that sanitation routine, where the sanitation routine specifies a target environmental condition. So in other words, it's saying, hey, our sensors detected that this vehicle was dirty. And then it's generating this data that has this, the fact that the environment or this electric vehicle, this space is dirty. Then the processor is essentially generating this routine to actually clean the vehicle, and then it's executing. So it's putting in motion that sanitation routine. And then this wherein clause, wherein the sanitation routine specifies at least a target environmental condition. So it's saying, hey, we have to get it to a target level of cleanliness, for example. And then it's a component associated with the enclosed space. Now, this component is going to be very interesting because, so again, we're trying to be as broad as possible in that main independent claim. So they're not specifying what that component is, but as we look at these dependent claims, they're going to talk about a little bit more what that component could be. And it says when the sanitation routine, when executed by the processor, causes the component to adjust the current environmental condition towards the target condition. So before we get off into the dependent claims, just by breaking down this independent claim, you have some sensors. These sensors are essentially detecting the environmental condition, the current environmental condition within this space, enclosed space, say, for example, occupant cabin of electric vehicle. Then it's going to generate some data based on the environmental conditions. Then a processor is going to essentially generate a sanitation routine and execute that sanitation routine. And that sanitation routine is going to include, hey, you have this current dirtiness. We got to clean it so that it's at a preferred or predetermined level of cleanliness. And that includes adjusting a component such that it's cleaning a vehicle. So what is this component, you might add? Let's get to it. Let's see. They're not going to disclose what that component is because I'm sure that component can be a ton of things. So you don't want to get specific in the independent claim, but let's look at the dependent claims. So as you see here, the system of claim 1, wherein, so this depends on claim 1, and they talk about a little bit more, at least with claim 2, dependent claim 2, they talk about the sensors. What are some of these sensors? What could the sensors be? They're saying the sensors could be an image sensor, so a camera, acoustic sensor, so a sound sensor, a thermal sensor, pressure sensor, a capacitive or a touch sensor, a radio frequency sensor, or a gas sensor. So we see here in independent claim 1, they just generally say a plurality of sensors. But in dependent claim 2, they're saying, hey, what are those? What are examples of what some of those sensors could be? Let's go down to claim 4, because dependent claim 3, which also depends on claim 1, is essentially kind of regurgitating at least some of what claim 2 talk about as far as what are some of those sensors. But let's go to claim. Let me see. I want to get to the component. Let's go to claim 6. So claim 6 is a dependent claim that depends on claim 1. That's why it says the system of claim 1, and it says the component. So now it's saying the component could be a light source deployed within an enclosed space, and the sanitation routine comprised emitting a visible light from that light source. So we know that one example of what the component could be that's actually causing the cleanliness of a vehicle to go to a predetermined level, that sensor could be, that component could be a light source. For example, a UV light source. The component could also be a vaporizer that's deployed within an enclosed space, and the sanitation routine emits vapor from that vaporizer. The component could also be, going to claim 7 here, a seat that's deployed within an enclosed space, and the sanitation routine can include changing the position of the seat. I'm not sure how that helps clean the vehicle, but they have it in here. Let's go to claim 10. The component could be an HVAC system deployed within the space and increasing the temperature of the enclosed space. So they're saying that this component could be a number of things. You can have some light. What do they say? What do they call it? They call it, in claim 2 here, they call, not claim 2, but they called it in, let's see here, a light source. In dependent claim 6, it can be a light source that's within a vehicle, and that light source is emitting some type of visible light. Think of a UV light that's cleaning a vehicle. That's one example of what the component can be that's cleaning the vehicle. Another example is can be a vaporizer that's emitting vapor from the vaporizer to clean a vehicle. Another example of what the component could be is an HVAC system that increases the actual temperature within a vehicle to clean a vehicle. So these are all different examples of what the component can be. But as we, again, just close off here, this broadest independent claim, which I like, I'm not sure if it'll get allowed, but that's okay. We may have to, whoever the attorney is may have to amend this during prosecution. But essentially, they're claiming a system for sanitizing the enclosed space. And as we talked about, this system includes sensors that's essentially detecting how dirty a vehicle is, and then a processor that's configured to execute or generate what they call it, a sanitation routine based on how dirty the vehicle is or how dirty a room is, and it's executing, putting into motion that sanitation routine. And again, the sanitation routine, you have a what they call it, a component, and when it puts forth that sanitation routine, it's adjusting causes the component to be adjusted to essentially get the vehicle clean. And that adjustment of the component, as we talked about, could be increasing the temperature of the actual HVAC system. It could be emitting visible light. It could be emitting vapor from some type of vapor system. Hopefully, you guys kind of are starting to get this past stuff is extremely valuable. And again, Elon Musk, we know he's been killing not only with what he's doing with us, I think SpaceX, but also what he's doing with Tesla and some of the other companies that he has going on. This stuff is extremely important. And as an IP attorney, I'm trying to break this stuff down for you guys that's a little bit more digestible so you can have a better understanding as you're looking at these documents, because these are legal documents. These are important documents. These are documents that's worth millions of dollars in the right hand. So, sanitation routine, Tesla, kudos. I do think, hey, whether it's for automatic, a vehicle that drives on its own, or forget it, if I'm driving a vehicle and if I have my vehicle, this is something that you can incorporate into other vehicles, not just self-driving vehicles. I love the fact that they claim a system that includes essentially sensors, a component, and a processor, as opposed to claiming an electric vehicle, because now you can be held liable for infringement to the extent that this broad deep independent claim one gets allowed. You can be on the hook for patent infringement even if you don't sell the vehicle. Whereas if you had claimed a vehicle comprising a sensor, sensors, a processor, and a component, now you have to sell the vehicle. But since you're claiming a system, it can be something that you're retrofitting into current vehicles or manufacturing vehicles anew with this kind of system or routine in it. You can be held liable for infringement. But kudos to your boy Elon Musk. He's at it again, changing the world. I'm gonna kind of try to follow this patent application to see once it get issues, and you'll know when that patent application gets issued. What we looked at claim one, it typically is a little bit more narrow. In other words, you have to add some components, add some things to it to get it over the hump, to get it over prior art is what we call it, and to get it to a condition of allowance. So I'm going to try to kind of follow this one out. It's going to take a while. We all know that the federal government does not they're not working at an accelerated pace here. So it may be a year or so, but I'm going to try to follow this one and kind of point back to this video, and we're going to compare the independent claim that was in a patent application to the independent claim that's allowed if it does get to a condition of allowance. We're going to compare those, and you will understand that the allowed independent claim more times than not is probably going to be a lot more narrow. Not a lot more, but it's going to be more narrow. It's going to include more things in it than the independent claim that was initially filed as part of the patent application. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video. If you did, please hit the like button. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you liked about it. Let me know whether or not you think that the application is going to get issued, or if you think it's something out there that already essentially does this. In other words, collect information to see how dirty an environment is, and then execute some type of sanitation scheme that cleans the environment. And that sanitation scheme includes adjusting a component, whether it's HVAC system, whether it's a visible light, whether it's a vapor system, to clean the environment. I think that's a pretty broad claim that's probably not going to get allowed. He's going to have to add more things into it, which is okay, as long as you have some good meat on the bones. But let me know whether or not you think the claim as is going to be allowed, or if he's going to have to add something. Please hit the subscribe button if you like this content. Now I'll try to bring, especially with these more well-known patents or patents from these well-known companies, try to break this stuff down from almost 10-year intellectual property or patent attorney's perspective, kind of gives you my thoughts. And hopefully you guys learn something out of it, get something out of it, and learn something, so that when you come knocking and say, hey, I got a patent, I know what I want to claim, I know how I want to claim it, you already have an understanding of what you need to do because you've been watching these type videos. So until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.